We're now joined by Bruce Croxon, co-founder of Round 13 Capital. Today, we are talking about social media amid this Israel-Gaza war. Bruce, it's great to see you. Twitter, Meta, they are scrambling to keep misleading, lying content off their database, and also just gruesome footage. Lots of fake footage, video game stuff purporting to show the war.
Yeah, and I think that is the fundamental push-pull issue that's going on. And as you've put it, they're scrambling to try and keep up. By the same token, as we know, Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, is now called X. It was not a viable business model in his mind, so a lot of the operating expenses came out of that company.
Including the people who check stuff.
Especially the people that are responsible for checking stuff to make sure what goes out is true. So the bigger question is, are they capable even of keeping up with the level of disinformation that passes as news? And when I think about the social media environment and the scramble, as you say, to try and get to the truth, I can't help but think about when we grew up, and I'm older than you, but when I remember the local paper, you had your editorial section, you had your news section. When you read the news section, you had some kind of confidence that there was enough profit in the business model to have done the work to present the facts and to research the facts as they are. And we could count on that. Those business models, as you know, have come under significant pressure, and there's very few of those outlets left that have the trust of being able to go deep into every issue. What has filled that vacuum? Twitter, Meta, WhatsApp, what's the one that kids are on? Like, there's all kinds of new
TikTok,
TikTok, right? And they're coming under fire. And the question is, should they be responsible for the content that goes out on their platform that is passing as news and that is impacting elections and spreading misinformation about who's responsible for a rocket that took out 500 people, right? And the level of disinformation is just very, very tough to sort through.
Yeah, Meta has banned anything praising Hamas. Hamas, of course, has been called a terrorist organization by Canada and many other Western nations.
So I would say that, once again, the Europeans are slightly ahead. They passed something in August called the Digital Service Act, and it is designed to prevent the spreading of misinformation and hateful content. And there's a set of laws that back up what the definitions of those things are. So what you're reading about now is the sort of tension between the Europeans and the Digital Service Act and a company like Twitter, X, who say that they have taken down countless posts,
hundreds of thousands
of posts about Hamas in particular. Have they done enough? Have they? But I don't think they have, or else the digital service people would not still be on them and say, look, you need to do more, right?
And just to illustrate the difficulty there, you refer to a rocket explosion killing those hundreds of people in Gaza, but the Gaza authorities say it's an Israeli airstrike.
There you go. So definition of rocket, right? And at least in an old school business model with investigative journalism and a model that could support such, we had some confidence that we will eventually get to the truth. I have a lot less confidence now as these social media platforms post their version or somebody else's version of what they say is the truth. And unfortunately, there's just too many people that are prepared to accept it as gospel.
Yeah, it is. It's worrying, isn't it? Because as you say, when you and I grew up, there was a consensus on many things, not everything.
Yeah. I'm concerned, and if I'm also a technology investor, as you know, and I'm excited by some of the artificial intelligence breakthroughs and the ability to take operating expenses out of some of our coding and our technology advancements, lip syncing, and really shortening the time in that example where a Hollywood film can come to market in different languages. But the leaders of that technology, they're unanimously almost that their biggest number one fear of the advancement of that technology is going to get even harder to discern what is real and what is not, what has been manufactured or what has been researched, investigated, and presented as fact.